Relying on a single monolithic AI model for every enterprise task is now an outdated strategy in 2026. The market is currently defined by two different approaches. There is OpenAI's refined GPT-5 ecosystem and Moonshot AI's 2.8 trillion parameter Kimi K3. You might be looking at Kimi K3's benchmark lead and weighing that against the friction of migrating away from the OpenAI stack. This comparison focuses on matching architectural strengths to your exact operational bottlenecks, specifically the trade-off between API cost and data context size. Selecting the wrong model today does more than lower your performance. It burns through budget and creates a hard ceiling for your scaling efforts. Data ingestion capacity has become the primary differentiator between these models. This scale shows the gap. Kimi K3 offers a 1,048,576 token context window, more than double GPT-5's 400,000 token limit. That allows processing entire codebases and 1,000-page documents in a single prompt, removing the need for manual data chunking. However, Kimi K3 commands a significant price for that capacity, charging $3 for input and $15 for output per million tokens. GPT-5 is much more optimized for volume, coming in at $1.25 for input and $10 for output. That lower price point makes GPT-5 the more efficient choice for high-volume, repetitive tasks like customer support routing. While Kimi K3 removes the requirement for complex retrieval-augmented generation systems, you are effectively paying a financial premium for that native convenience. Beyond capacity, we have to look at how these models process logic. Kimi K3 uses a sparse mixture of experts architecture. It only activates specific parameters for each task, rather than the entire model at once. This specialized approach is built for autonomous workflows, where a model must plan and self-correct over long periods. Kimi K3's lead in terminal bench and dynamic tool calling benchmarks confirms its strength as an autonomous agent. But that architecture still has limits. Kimi K3 often fails to maintain the consistent logical focus required for production-level software engineering. Claude Fable 5 and GPT-5 still hold the advantage here. Fable 5 in particular remains the benchmark leader for zero hallucination, complex engineering tasks. Kimi K3 functions as an untiring autonomous worker, but for critical logic and difficult debugging, Claude Fable 5 and GPT-5 remain the necessary senior architects. If your primary concern is data privacy and server control, the deployment landscape looks very different. Moonshot AI has committed to releasing the open weights for the Kimi K3 model. This allows enterprises to self-host the model. You get absolute data privacy and avoid ongoing API fees to external providers. However, the internal engineering requirements for a model of this scale are significant. You will need expensive, specialized server clusters just to run these 2.8 trillion parameters at production speed. You also have to account for the ongoing costs of internal security patching, governance, and constant performance monitoring. For frontier models, open source doesn't necessarily save money. It just shifts the cost from a monthly API invoice to a permanent infrastructure and payroll burden. Engineering teams should move away from the idea that one model will solve every problem. You should choose based on where your operational friction is highest. Consider these three profiles. First is the high-volume enterprise, marked by millions of daily API calls and standard routing under a strict budget. GPT-5 is the recommendation here. Its pricing and mature ecosystem are built for this kind of volume. Then there is the autonomous researcher. These workflows involve processing entire Git repositories or massive sets of visual charts in a single request. Kimi K3 is the choice for this researcher profile. Its million-token window justifies the higher price for those data-heavy prompts. Finally, the complex engineer demands production-grade code and multi-step verification. Because Kimi K3 isn't yet reliable for this tier of logic, Claude Fable 5 or GPT-5 remain the preferred tools. Success in 2026 relies on orchestration. The most efficient teams route data-heavy queries to Kimi K3, while sending high-volume, cost-sensitive tasks to GPT-5.